Hello! So this is the start of a new series that I'm going to be popping up on YouTube, digging into the first 3 hours of a bunch of different sci-fi games, specifically space games. Space is where my heart is at the moment, and today I wanted to start digging into the first 3 hours of Ixion, which is developed by Bulwark Studios and published by Casido Games. No, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce the publisher's name, but they've also put out a game which is near and dear to my heart as well, which is Warhammer 40k Mechanicus, which is a really lean, really interesting variation on the XCOM theme. But that's not what we're here for today. What we're going to be looking at is Ixion. I think probably the most apt description that I've heard for this is I've seen people describe it as a little bit of Frostpunk and a little bit of Homeworld. So, let's dig into it. Here I am. I am small on the screen. Now I'm gonna pop in when I've got something to say. Otherwise, I'm gonna stay out of the way. Now, you might notice that my green screen occasionally misbehaves. It looks like, there we go. You can see that I get silver on my skin sometimes. I'm not stressing so much about that. I'm not letting perfect be the enemy of good here. This is all about, like a lot of other stuff I'm doing at the moment, getting it done and not stressing about it being just absolutely perfect. Okay, so yeah, I'll pop into chat occasionally. Otherwise, I'll try and stay out of the way of the game.
Control, we have typing clearance for shuttle launch. Initiate Stanford protocol.
Clear procedures, check. Guidance go.
EA algorithm online.
Batista safety protocol, check.
Launch control to EMB Charon. All systems are go.
Launch is imminent. Personnel are instructed to evacuate the launch pad.
Yes, 30 seconds.
Defenders up.
Welcome on board, passengers. Shuttle EMV Charon is now docked. Sector 1 empowered and pressurized. Munchie decontamination protocol online. Disembarkation authorized. Message to crew members. Welcome on board the Tycoon, property of Dolus Aerospace Engineering Corporation. You will soon be given your assignments, but until then, please continue to wait near the docking bay. We hope you have a productive voyage, and would like to thank you for your contribution towards humanity's future. Administrator, I am Eden, the personal assistant installed on board the Tycoon. In accordance with the Munchie Protocol, I have been designed to take into consideration your complete psychological profile so that I may more accurately respond to any needs you may have. My primary purpose is to ensure the Tycoon's automated systems function efficiently. I will keep track of the tasks that are necessary for you to fulfill your prerogative of reaching Proxima Centauri and carrying out field research, mining operations, manufacturing protocols, and Dolos colonization tests.
Administrator, I wanted to introduce you to your first tasks personally. I'm Dolos' cryonics lead, Marduk Council member Giovanni Battista. So, let's see. Your first objective will be to begin setting up essential infrastructure aboard the Tycoon, meeting the environmental conditions that are required to support your crew. Having laid these foundations, you will then oversee the installation of the Vol engine and perform a short test jump to Proxima Centauri. Upon arrival, your research teams will carry out a brief survey of local space, gather a few rock and coal dust samples, fire up the colonization protocol, begin building the foundations for mankind's future, yada yada yada. And then you'll come back. Now, in order to achieve this, you'll need to familiarize yourself with the Tycoon's core functions. It's no big deal. There's the production, stockpiling and distribution of resources, construction, balancing of power output with allocation. Oh, and space exploration, setting out expeditions and all that. Basically, everything needed to establish scientific advancement and harmonious autonomy on board the Tycoon following the first test of its Vol engine. Eden's gonna display and keep track of your main objectives. Oh, and Administrator, don't let the position go to your head. Veneer has insisted to center Dolos' focus on the Tycoon, but this mission is just in preparation for our next project, the Protagoras. The Marduk Council worked damn hard to pull this mission together ahead of schedule. So, toe the line, do as you're told, and bring the Tycoon back in one piece. Leave the grand gestures and saving of mankind from ecosystemic destruction to us, okay? One last word of advice. We don't all think like Veneer Dolos. As of yet, no human law has been officially established amongst the stars. That sounds like an opportunity knocking to me.
If you were wondering why we had that skip in audio before, that was absolutely me. We're just gonna get another one for a second here. Fantastic. I just wanted to make sure that we were recording. So, interesting naming scheme so far. First of all, I want to suggest that, if you're gonna name something that transports people from place to place, naming it after the ferryman of the dead, Charon, ferryman, the River Styx. Yeah. Ominous. Marduk, from memory, is I want to say, either Sumerian or a Babylonian god of destruction? I'll look that up for next time. But yeah, the Marduk Council. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, so I've played a little bit of this before. but not so much that I can remember what's going on here. So we've got 3 different views here. So we're going to be building inside the Tycoon. We're going to have the exterior view where we're going to be able to bolt stuff on as well. Different power generation from memory, other things, and we've got a planetary system map. Let's see if we can get the first goal going. Do we have notifications? No. Let's see if we can get our first goal going of building a workshop. What do we need for that? We get 1 workshop for free. Alright, that sounds good. Alright, let's do that. So I've already messed up there because I put that workshop right near. I've put it right near some alloy that needs to get harvested. So we're gonna have to build the stockpile first. So the way that all of this is working is that we've got these roads that connect these different parts of the sector here, and worker units are going to move backwards and forwards along it. So let's see if we can't get. Let's see if we can't get road constructed. I have this ugly feeling. Already messed up. Alloy? Harvest. What? General. Cool. Yeah. We're going well already. So that's active. Come on. Not cheap. There we go. This is going to be a real challenge now because I've got a feeling the space is going to be limited with what I want to do in the sector. And I've kind of, maybe not, but yeah, where that storage unit is. Yeah, let's cancel you. We'll see how we go. It is what it is. Harvest you. Harvest you. Alright, so now we need to collect some alloy. So our starting resources are all in here. It was interesting. I thought it was interesting that the opening sequence of the game has a shuttle going up to the Tycoon. When you look at the size of that thing, you would think from just a world-building perspective that they would have an orbital shipyard or an orbital construction area.
Administrator, I have established a connection with Dolus's lead data scientist, Emma Klein.
Administrator, Mr. Dolus has made it abundantly clear when it comes to security. Given the importance of the Tycoon, we must have full control over what is happening inside the station. My name is Emma Klein, Dolus' lead data scientist and member of the Marduk Council. My department have just completed final synchronization between Eden and our data treatment tool, the DLS. The DLS, or Data Listening System, is capable of scanning, recording, and parsing exchanges of any kind. The DLS programming that is a part of Eden will filter all data collected and bring to your attention only the most relevant information. It will also provide you with a condensed overview of any situations that may arise and formulate potential future outcomes. It will permit you to give direct orders without having to go through additional unnecessary paperwork. Eden will then take care of everything via their DLS accreditation, as is often the case with tools produced by my department. I think you'll find that once you start using the DLS, you'll never be able to do without it. Oh, and before I let you go ahead and start writing history, Dr. Munchie, our lead medical expert, wanted me to bring to your attention a possible side effect of vol jumping. Whilst there is a correlation between prolonged space travel and the development of early onset dementia, he believes that a vol jump has the potential to accelerate this process, although this is yet to be proven. His recommendation is for you to immediately send any crew members that are exhibiting uncharacteristic or symptomatic behavior to an infirmary, as these facilities are equipped to treat the mind as well as the body. Remember that all of your actions and choices are being reported by Eden. We are not affiliated with any national or even international organization. The only people that you are answerable to are those of us who sit on the Marduk Council, who represent the collective interests and ambitions of the company.
Administrator, a new request awaits your attention.
Okay, so now we're going to get into the Frostpunk part of the equation here. We'll come back to the whole independence from world governments in a second. Okay, so that's interesting. So the first of those events that happens, we don't really have... It's not really about having a choice so much as it is about teaching us the interface. Like getting us used to responding to events after the introduction of the DLS. But yeah, I'm curious where this is going to go thematically, because the whole idea of being independent of government oversight, of being basically answerable to no one, it cuts a little close to me to that kind of Elon Musk fantasy of just bringing the smartest and the brightest together in order to get things done. And I feel like if the last 5 years have given us anything, they have really just taken that idea that billionaires are somehow smarter or more capable than the rest of us, taken it out the back and shot it in the back of the head. So this idea of like the bestest and the brightest of all of us, yeah, it's a little bit worrisome. I suspect we're going to go in the direction of this being sort of a corporate dystopia, or a dystopia of some sort, but we'll see where we go. I'm curious. I'm liking so far just the mechanics of clearing all of this space out, so we've got to really build some more storage for all of this stuff that's in here. There's a lot of alloy. Alright, so let's build somewhere where folks can eat. Oh, and of course that would be like one block too short. Ah, that would be perfect if we can... Let's do that. Alright, I'll pop back in a little bit if I have something to say. So I might not have made it as clear as it could be before, but each of these storage areas is allocated to a different kind of resource. So that's why I've just built another one to go with our mess hall, so that we've got a place to store food.
Administrator, I have an incoming transmission from Marduk Council member Henry Bargeville.
Bonjour, Administrator. What a wonderful day to embrace our fate, don't you think? I'm Henri Bargeville, writer, philosopher, lobbyist, but most of all member of the Marduk Council. I have taken the liberty of personally arranging an exchange out of courtesy with the Oceanabe, a ship in high orbit belonging to one of our commercial allies, the Ashtongites. Even though they are a small organization, the Ashtongites are important partners who share the same pragmatic, moralistic, and spiritual outlook as we do. The Oceanabe will provide us with a source of food whilst carrying out the Tycoon's initial testing. By making it the first exclusive trade partner of the Tycoon, we will demonstrate to our long-term allies that Dolos wishes for them to share in our successes. Please assign a cargo ship so that we can check the trade routines. Administrator, trust in genetic kinetics. Self-similar space will reveal the pattern.
I have no idea what that means. No idea. Oh, one thing I wanted to talk about too, that came up earlier in one of the first transmissions there, is the idea that space travel, and especially using our experimental drive, can exacerbate the chances of getting Alzheimer's. Nothing scares me more than the thought of losing my mental capabilities, of that kind of mental degradation. I think it's true for a lot of people. I think there's something about that that is...
A new request awaits your attention.
Let's pause the game for a second there. Yeah, I think that's true for a lot of people, that there's something that is innately more terrifying about losing ourselves to losing our mental faculties compared to losing our physical capabilities. So yeah, the idea basically that whatever it is that we're doing here, on top of all of the other threats, all of the other hazards that you have environmentally with space travel, you know, the fact that you're constantly bombarded with radiation. Kim Stanley Robinson's Mars trilogy, Red Mars, Blue Mars, Green Mars, if it's in that, yeah, I think it's in that order. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the first things that they talk about with the crew going to Mars and then having to create habitats to shield themselves while they're terraforming Mars. You know, it's a constant issue. The fact that basically once you leave the, I want to say it's the, I think from memory it's the ionosphere. I can't remember exactly which part of it, whether it's the magnetosphere or the ionosphere. But anyway, Earth's atmosphere protects us from all of this radiation that's happening out in space. You know, it's this incredible, we're traveling on this incredible space vessel that we don't respect enough. And it keeps us safe. It's such a perfect habitat. Which reminds me, yeah, it's interesting to see that the computer's name is Eden as well. Anyway, let's get back to the game. Let's get crafting. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that people have somewhere to sleep. So one thing that's worth noting here too is that it is possible to rotate your view, which is super handy for once you've got buildings that rise up, being able to see like where are those roads going. Because I want to make sure that I'm making use of every square of space here. Otherwise, I get the feeling I'm going to run out of capacity here. That's going to be sort of a real limiter for what I can do. So what I'm doing over here is I just want to get space for another storage area, and I want to eventually, I want to see if I can get rid of this one here, this particular storage container here, because there's space there that can go to larger structures. I want to start getting my storage stuff down here, all in a line together, because then I can kind of mess with that road down here too. I can probably even get like another square of space. I'm just going to start optimizing early. That's why I've turned the power off for this one here. I want all of my alloys to get drained out of here. So we want to start constructing that cargo ship. We're going to need polymers because we're starting to move up the tech tree now. So that's why I've created another stockpile, assigned it to polymers. Let's get those polymers processing. So I've just done that there to clear the notifications for the tutorials there. That were kind of bugging me, but let's maybe just go through that a little bit slower. Let's go through that again. So the views we were looking at before. So here's my camera controls. I can zoom in and out. I can rotate. I can move from side to side as well. So using WASD there. Okay, so buildings take power. They take resources to be constructed. No real surprises there. We've seen placing buildings and constructing them. I'm trying not to go through too much at once here because I kind of want to take the game at the pace that it's going in the tutorial. So I haven't gone through and explained all of the UI. Just kind of waiting for it to get relevant there. Yeah, we've seen what happens with our little worker units and our resource delivery there. Roads we've been using. So yeah, transporters and mechs. So these mechs, which are linked to the workshop there, they're what's been doing our building. Oh, let's put that back up. So you might have seen that we're in Sector 1. We're going to get more sectors over time. Interestingly, we've got like a happiness level for all of our people here. Like, how are the conditions in there? We can dig into more information on that as well. What's the power consumption? We can store power as well. So resources. We're going to be collecting different kinds of resources. Requests we've played with. So the fact that we've got these events that pop up, we need to make a choice. Population. So yeah, we've got workers and non-workers as well. Everyone needs to eat. So some people aren't going to be necessarily pulling their weight. Or aren't going to be, I guess, primarily crew. Yep, so the primary cause of instability in the station is homelessness. Make sure that the crew members have quarters to live in. Well, isn't that funny? Like, you know, it's a cause... it's pretty true in the real world, too. You know, basic social services, super important. Yeah, food, so we have mess halls, food storage. We can speed up and slow down time. Yeah, space interaction we're going to come back to a little bit later on as well. But that's when we're going to be getting science points, which is our abstraction around research, discovering stuff out there. Alright, I'll pop back again later if I've got something to say. Yeah, you will have noticed there as well. I think I mentioned this before, but you can turn buildings on and off as well. So I'm trying to siphon now all of the alloys out of this storage area so I can get rid of it. Alrighty, so... Peepadoo. Exploration and harvesting. So we're going to go out into space, and we can specify what our priorities are for harvesting the resources that we've discovered via probes from memory. What's going to find stuff for us, so we can specify priorities for both mining and our cargo ships as well. So mining chips are what's actually going to make our resources available. Cargo chips are going to go and bring it home. Okay, so it might be like premature optimization, but we can get rid of that building now. Woohoo! Got some space available. I'm not crazy about having storage up here, but I guess it's going to take the least amount of squares because I can optimize that space up there. Feeling better about that already. Okay, so I was just wondering why we had this notification here before, but it's because it wants my cargo ship, based on the conversation we had earlier with our corporate partner. It wants me to assign that to grab food. Now that should be everything I need to do there. Oh, wait, hang on, we got an event available. Oh, interesting. Already. So here's our galactic view, or space view, if you prefer. So we're inside our solar system. Got some events we can go and do there. It's pretty. It's really pretty. Wow, look at that. You zoom in, you can see. Yeah, it does a great job of making it feel like each of those individual pieces of rock is moving around the belt. Belt loader. Just made a mistake there because I want to get this thing out of the way so that I can put another storage area there. Just line it up neatly. Again, probably a lot of premature optimization, but I want it to feel just so. Alright, that's our science ship out in space. Let's go resolve the moon event, whatever the heck that is. So this is interesting. We've got an abandoned moon base. The base is out of commission, auxiliary systems are operational and could be used to restore power. Yeah, fuck it, let's do it. Let's get our science ship in on this. So I've got my fleet down here. It's showing me my science ships. I've got my broader fleet. I've got probes here as well. I can't launch probes at the moment.
A science ship has arrived at its destination.
I love, by the way, that the name of our science ship is the Ripley. Fuck yeah. One of the most sensible characters in science fiction. Yeah. Let's not get into Prometheus and, yeah. Let's not do that. Okay, so our choices are we can exploit the security vulnerability. If we do that, then we can access the base's central systems and retrieve any confidential data present, or data if you prefer. Or we can just dismantle it and grab useful resources. I'm gonna go for that confidential data. Let's see how that goes. So I was just checking to make sure that that's actually resolving, and you can see that the bar is filling up for that. I'm going to stay at the moment until I get a little more comfortable with the game. I'm going to stay on just on standard time here and not speed things up.
A science ship team has completed a task.
Let's go have a look. We hacked into the main computer systems as you ordered and retrieved several relevant research papers and data sets. So we get some science. Awesome! Love it. Yeah, it's interesting too. So far, I like the voice acting in the game. Hadn't really talked about that yet. But yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. It's interesting. Some of the voices I feel are pretty heavily processed. But yeah. I feel like the characters are believable and they're interesting. So that's interesting. So we can get a breakdown here of what our population is. Workers versus non-workers. Colonists. We get colonists eventually. I was just having a look as well at the happiness here, seeing if there's anything else that was interesting. 46 workers are required, so we've got people can get downtime. Safety is at optimal levels. Okay, interesting. I was just trying to get a feel for whether we had any issues with unemployment or homelessness. I don't think we have yet. So we're doing okay. Early days.
A science ship team has completed a task.
Okay, so as a result of that event, we've got 30 alloy, 90 science, a lot of science going on there. So let's make some more storage, and then we can start clearing out more of that sector. I like that you can kind of paint. I always forget exactly how that works. But I didn't want to do that. But I like that you can paint roads. So you click down once and then you can just drag across. I know it's a pretty standard thing, but you know, when you remember it, it's nice. Okay, so here's our major reason why we're getting science, because our tech lab is going to help us create upgrades, so we'll choose what we want to upgrade over time. So we've got all of our technologies there. All of our basic technologies are going to have presumably some kind of advanced version. Okay, so this thing is a beast. So I'm going to need to do a little bit of housework here to clear enough space for that tech lab. And we should be able to pop out. Should be able to clear this area here. But yeah, that's definitely the largest building. Well, I guess it's the first real building we've constructed other than our basic stuff. Let's get to it. Let's make it happen. So just to be safe, I'm just going to return the science vessel back here. I can see that we've got some events that we can go and resolve. I'm not sure if we're supposed to in the tutorial. I don't know. So I'm just going to play it safe. Huh, interesting. So we've got a trust rating there as well. How much do they trust us? So far, pretty good.
Administrator, I have an incoming transmission from Dolus's head of medicine, Dr. Abhinav Munshi.
Greetings, Administrator. I'm Dr. Abhinav Munshi, Dolo's expert in compartmentalism and medicine, and a member of the Marduk Council. I'm glad to finally meet you, even in this digital manner. Your psychological test results were quite impressive. My friend and colleague, Philip Stanford, couldn't be here today, so I will take the role of introducing you to the final stages of the Vol engine integration. Before we get into that, however, we would like you to complete the testing station's exploration and enhancement capabilities. You'll then be able to begin researching the EVA airlock and assess its compatibility with the Tycoon's core systems. I hope that the work of our team will ensure that you're equipped to deal with most situations you encounter up there. Before I leave you, Stanford would like me to remind you that space is a far less fanciful and forgiving environment than science fiction would have us believe. It would be wise to remember that.
I like that. Alright, so... yeah, it's interesting. I was talking about the voiceover before. I think there was enough character in there. There wasn't a lot... there's not a lot of personality behind it, but it definitely feels like someone... it definitely feels like when she is there...
Power supply overloaded.
Let's go fix this. This isn't good. Let's... hang on. I'll stay on camera for this because... we...
Power restored.
remember, we can turn individual buildings off, but we've now got a problem in that we don't really have anything yet to help with power. Interesting. But that's okay, we can keep individual storage facilities just powered down if we don't need them. So we can see there we've got our capacity and our power usage in the IDE. I do like the IDE, there's a lot going on there. Okay, so in case the text is too small here, Administrator reports are being received relating to Bargeville Clane optimization protocols aboard the Tycoon. They indicate the crew numbers being overworked. Although Dolos employee contracts make it clear that a high degree of flexibility is required, this situation is beginning to take a toll on morale. It would be pragmatic to deploy additional crew members or reduce the number of concurrently active workplaces. Okay, so let's go and get more staff from the Yoshinabe. Okay, so we are starting to go into that whole corporate dystopia thing. Are you going to be on the side of the workers, or are you going to be on the side of efficiency?
Administrator, due to insufficient levels of electricity generation, Sector 1's power demand has overloaded.
Oh, again.
Stanford routines recommend that you construct an external solar panel to boost overall electrical output.
That'd be great. Love it. Okay, so we're going to build an EVA airlock before we can start constructing stuff. Okay, again, let's get to it. So I was wondering why I didn't have the ability to construct the airlock, and it's because we haven't researched it yet. So this is going to be our first bit of research. There we go. So you can see there at the bottom of the screen, the icon that we've got for opening the technology tree is also being used to show the progress through our current research item, which I like. That feels like elegant use of space, because one use doesn't obscure the other. So one thing that's worth mentioning here as well is you can see that when initially if I click, I get a high priority on an individual cargo type, but if I click again, it goes down to medium and then to low priority. So you can have basically complex configuration for your cargo ships and your mining ships around what your priorities are. Okay, so that is another massive thing to build, but luckily we've got this space here that it's going to fit into just perfectly, so let's use that. So we just noticed then that there are a few people who are without homes, so we want to fix that so that we keep everyone happy. We've got the resources for it. We've got all the resources in space. Okay, so now that we've got this increased population here, I am worried about... You can see we've got no stored food now, so... We've got a problem. We're gonna have a problem. Source food for up to 500 crew members every... Let's see what happens if we build another mess hall. I can't recall if these things generate food. They must, because we don't have any other source of food. So let's just build another mess hall.
restored.
Okay, so now we're really having to shut things down pretty heavily, but we're going to get a chunk more power here. Right?
Power supply overloaded. Power restored.
So I'm going to turn the small storage units off.
Power supply overloaded.
Sorry, mess hall.
Power restored.
So already we're having to really... I feel like this is the first bottleneck here. We're really having to juggle. See, I'm going to have to turn this on.
Power supply overloaded. Power restored.
We're not doing any research right now. Of course, that's the easy target. Now, let's just have a look at what we got here. Specialization. See a building's type by clicking on the building? Sure. Once unlocked, a sector's specializations can be viewed. Ah, interesting. Interesting, so we can have sectors for different things. Okay. So yeah, I feel like this is the first bottleneck that we're really having to go through. Unlocking our access to being able to construct more power. I went past it a little quickly before as well, but there was a note that was warning that hull repair, so we've got our hull integrity here. We're not having to deal with any hull depletion at the moment, but it was saying that hull repair is paused when you are constructing. You can only do one thing or the other. You can maintain your ship or you can construct things outside. So it's an interesting trade-off there. Yeah, we are... 99 of the crew are starving. Yeah, I could see that coming. Here we go. So our power is opened up. So let's get that online. That online. Alright, so that's gonna help there, because yeah, that would have been tight. If this had been an episode of The Expanse, that would have been a pretty dim view of what was happening on the station. There would have been riots. I'm guessing eventually we're gonna have to deal with riots as well, but we're still inside the tutorial. Okay, so that is... Let's pop up here. Just so we don't get anything else happening, let's save the game. So that's the first hour. Let's pop over here. That's our first hour of Ixion. I like the systems. I enjoy the process of kind of that challenge of how can you optimize space with the resources that you've got available. I like the fact that you can, in emergencies, juggle power, but pretty much every building you've got in there is vital. So turning something off is going to have a real impact. I'm really curious to see where the story's going to go. I've got to say, being one of my favorite science fiction films is Event Horizon, and the fact that we've got an experimental drive, I'm really curious as to where that's going to go. So I'm looking forward to cracking into more of this. But yeah, like off the bat, I'm enjoying the tutorial so far. I think it's a fun set of systems to play with, and I'm really curious to see where it goes as the game opens up. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you for Hour 2 of Ixion.